Go Tide.
All right, welcome back to a very special edition of Area 11. My name is Kyle Kaka, along with my co-host.
I'm Matt Baylor, aka Mr. Music Man, Mr. Music Plug, whatever you want to call me. How you guys doing? How you guys doing?
We are very excited to do this episode today. I got a very good friend of the show on a podcast, one of my best friends from college, Steven Panico. What's up, my guy?
You know it. What's up, everybody? Yeah, as Kyle said, my name is Steven Panico. So Kyle and I go way back to our ISU days down in good old Normal, Illinois.
Yes, sir. Yes,
So
sir.
yeah. So I'm honored to be here today to talk to you guys about the NFL, NBA, Mike Stud. And let's get started.
It's gonna be a great episode. We're gonna talk a lot about some football stuff, some basketball stuff. As Steven said, we're gonna do a musical bracket of rapper Mike Stud, who's one of his favorites. Matt really likes him too. And let's get started. So first thing we want to talk about, we're going to do some football talking. We're going to talk about so Steven is a huge Bears fan, and he is going to go on a kind of an extended rant / whatever you want to call it about the Chicago Bears franchise. Then we're going to transition into Matt talking a little bit about the Lions' new hiring of Dan Campbell as their head coach and Brad Holmes as their executive vice president. And then we're going to go into predictions for the title games for the 24th. So, Steven, you want to kick it off with your Bears rant? I'm excited for this.
Yeah, definitely. So as Kyle said, I am a diehard Bears fan, if you could tell by the jersey. And that's Hester, by the way, not Fuller, even though they're both great players. But yeah, so I've been a diehard Bears fan my entire life. My grandparents, I think it was after the 85 season. So after they, won the Super Bowl and everything, the last time we were good, they put their name on the waiting list for season tickets, got them in 99. So ever since I was a kid, I've been going to games and stuff. And it's been, it's been an awesome experience. Like I love going to the games and the atmosphere and just wish the team was better. And that's what I'm here to talk about today. So yeah, I'm sure all the Bears fans listening, I'm sure you guys are just unbelievably frustrated like I am. Like it's just like after this season, I just don't know what to expect anymore. It's just I'm just gonna say our franchise is a joke. We are literally a laughing stock. Like, people for years laughed at the Browns and all that. Like, oh, they fucking suck. Like they're not gonna win or anything. And now they completely turned it around. But the Bears are one of those teams where I think we fly under the radar for being so crappy, but now it's starting to come to life and it's getting exposed just how bad we are. And, over the years, we've had some pretty solid players, like just to name a few, like on defense, and this is from, let's see, like the early 2000s. I was born in 97. So I started watching the early 2000s, like some notable defensive players, Alex Brown, Adewale Ogunleye, I think I said that right. Tommy Harris, Keith Traylor. And if you guys don't remember Keith Traylor, he's the one against the Jaguars, got the interception. The earth is shaking, big Keith Traylor, like 90-something yards. Obviously, Brian Urlacher, Hall of Famer, Peanut Tillman, Lance Briggs, Nathan Vasher, Mike Brown, just some of the notable guys who anchored this defense for such a long time. And that's been our strong suit for years, has been our defense. Like our offense, we've had pieces. Like we've had some decent pieces.
True.
Yeah. Who do I got here? Some notable pieces, from the early 2000s and all that. Thomas Jones, Cedric Benson, Bernard Berrien, Johnny Knox.
Bernard Berrien, oh my God, that's the name I haven't heard in
blast from the past. Yeah, Johnny Knox, who holds a special place in my heart. I wish his career didn't cut short by that awful injury. He is. If you guys somehow ever meet him someday, he's one of the most genuine people you'll ever meet. So quick sidebar. So back when I was in 8th grade, he was doing one of those autograph signings at a local Walgreens. We had to wait 2 hours and the store was closing. They're like, okay, it's time to go. He's like, no. He's like, bring everyone in, lock the doors. I'm going to get everyone's autograph, make sure everyone leaves here with an autograph from me. So just overall, just great guy. I hated to see him get hurt. It truly broke my heart. Here's another name you might remember, Muhsin Muhammad.
Yes. Oh my God.
Yeah. Bounced back and forth from the Bears and the Panthers, I believe. And of course, in more recent years, you had Brandon Marshall, Alshon Jeffrey, and I always call him the one that got away. Wish we never got rid of him. Greg Olson. Like that.
Great tight end.
He was a great tight end. Love to see him, do great in his career with Carolina and all that. Desmond Clark, another great tight end. And obviously the workhorse himself, Matt Forte. Matt Forte, like I was telling Kyle the other night, Matt Forte, he's honest. I'll argue it. He's one of the most underrated running backs ever. Like this dude was the running back you would call in on a 3rd and inches, got to get that first down. He's going to put his head down and plow right up the middle and bury his helmet in a defensive tackle's chest and get that first down, fight for that yardage. And he's also the guy, receivers are covered super well. Blitz is coming. You check it down to him. He's going to turn that 5-yard pass into a 50-yard run. Like he was just absolutely unreal athlete. So the Bears, over the years that I've been watching them, they've had some great pieces. Like, and you can argue in the past couple years, we've had, some great pieces on both sides. Obviously, the defense, in my opinion, being a little more the strong suit. While the offense,
Yes.
it's like, we got some decent receivers, some good running backs. Like, we got David Montgomery who had a great year, like completely broke out. And that made me really happy to see. I think he finished, he finished 5th in
It was, yeah.
rushing yards, right? Yeah, that's what I thought. I know it was him and our boy from ISU, James Robinson.
I love me some James Robinson. Jacksonville's got a bright future with him and Trevor Lawrence.
Agreed, 100%. But yeah, Montgomery had himself a year. You still got Tariq Cohen. I mean, once he comes back from injury, he's going to make a big impact. Receiving core, I mean, I hate to say it. I really do. As much as I want him to stay, I really don't think we're going to keep Allen Robinson because I know he wanted to stay with us. He wanted a contract extension, but I feel like after the season, he's going to be like, you guys suck. Like, I'm out of here. Like I don't want to be here anymore. Wims, he can get out of my sight. Wims is terrible. I'm done. He can cut. He can get cut. Anthony Miller, great receiver. He's got a lot of athletic talent and everything, but the dude is a head case. If you watch him over the past couple of years, he's the one guy that is almost guaranteed unsportsmanlike. If you walk up in his face and be like, "Oh, you suck," he's gonna freak out and get up and retaliate. He, of course, once you retaliate, he's gonna get the call. Like
that's the same thing with Javon Wims because he actually punched a dude in the face.
Yeah, freaking was it Chauncey Gardner Johnson, one of the biggest instigators in the league. Yeah, I know you guys don't watch hockey, but I would put him as the Corey Perry of football, the dude that you just. Or the Brad Marchand, the dude that you just absolutely hate because he lives in your head rent free, and that was 100% the case with Wims. And if you guys saw the last game against the Saints, the wild card round, he was living in Miller's head rent free too. When Miller, took a swing at him, and so yeah, honestly, Miller, he's got talent, he's got a lot of potential, he's got a lot of talent. But you know what? If we let him go, I won't be mad. Like that, he needs to learn to catch the ball with 2 hands because there are some plays where, he's right the first down line. He tries to show off and catch with 1 hand and all that. He has a couple times. He's had some great plays, but at the end of the day, it's just make it simple, make the catch. But yeah, I mean, we got some great offensive pieces. Oh, how can I forget Darnell Mooney? How can we talk about him?
My dad likes him a lot too. Whenever we watch Bear games, he's always on him.
And fifth rounder, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I believe he went to the same college as Matt Forte as well.
Yeah, Tulane.
Tulane.
5th rounder out of Tulane. Dude ran like a 4.4, like 4.34. Like he's an absolute deep threat with a ton of speed. Like you should see the way he gets around, defensive backs one-on-one. Like he's faking them out. He's getting deep and he's wide open. But that is going to circle back to our biggest issue of we need a quarterback that can get it there.
Yep.
And I guess it'll carry into my next little tidbit here. I have right now I have the list of Bears quarterbacks that I've seen play since 2000, and let's run through it, shall we? Jim Miller.
This is going to be ugly.
Yeah, Jim Miller, Chris Chandler, Cordell Stewart, Craig Krenzel, Sexy Rexy Grossman, Kyle Orton, Brian Greasy, Smokin' Jay Cutler, Josh McCown, Jimmy Clausen, Matt Barkley, Brian Hoyer, Mike Glennon, of course, Mitchell Trubisky, Chase Daniel, and Big Dick Nick Foles. So, again, I think, I know compared to the Cleveland Browns earlier, obviously we all know about the jersey where since 98, 99, they have all the quarterbacks' names on there. They keep crossing them off. And, well, their drought finally ended with Baker Mayfield as he, I feel like he's kind of getting his footing in Cleveland, has been balling out. And I like to see that. I'm a big fan. But we can't seem to figure it out at quarterback. That is our one weakness. And I've talked to like, my dad, like my relatives, like, some older fans who've been have been watching the Bears for way longer than I have, and they all said the same thing. Our weakest link is always our quarterback.
Yep.
Like I just want you guys to think about this. Who do you think has been one standout quarterback in the Bears that you've seen play?
Well, I mean, Matt is probably is probably pretty biased because he's a Lions fan.
You're a Lions fan.
He's a Lions fan. But me personally, Trubisky's first full season was pretty good. It's just he didn't after the coaching staff probably told him to stop running, he just was not effective anymore. And he's never been a deep ball threat either. So I just don't think that, and that those couple of games by Josh McCown when Jay Cutler was injured back a couple years ago was pretty solid.
He was a dog, yeah.
But you're right. Like Matt, what do you have to say about that?
No, I agree with you. I think Mitch Trubisky's first year, from what I've seen from Bears games prior to when he was their QB1, his pacing is quick, and he moves the ball efficiently down the field. It's just, I think what hurts them is he can't throw the ball deep and accurate. As we all know, short passes are effective in some case scenarios, but to have that be your main go-to every single time, it's not going to work always. So I think no, what's up?
Oh no, go ahead. Finish your thoughts. Sorry.
Oh no, yeah. I was just saying. So I think I would agree. I think Mitch Trubisky's first year, I think it was solid. It's just he had some cons to his game that didn't make it a full, complete, threat on offense.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Like I was going to say, so I'll never forget when we drafted Trubisky. I was at Buffalo Wild Wings down at ISU for, I think it was like Thursday, 60-cent win night or something. And I was just sitting there waiting in anticipation to see who we were going to pick. And of course, the Bears drafted Trubisky. And I was like, I was like, oh my God, yes, let's go. I was like, okay, we got a quarterback, see what he can do. But what really pissed me off was all these Bears fans were like, no, why? Oh my God, I hate the Bears. Oh my God, I hate this organization. It's like, I get it, but we have no right to complain because we're literally at rock bottom with how we draft quarterbacks. So I was like, I have some hope. He had a lot of potential and everything. And that first year, you got to remember, he had no receivers. Everybody was hurt. Like one of his top receivers, Cameron Meredith, another Illinois State guy, go Birds, was hurt because he tore his ACL in the preseason against the Titans. But he had to throw to guys like Joshua Bellamy and Dontrell Inman, who they had to bring in from the Chargers. And he was like a third or fourth string receiver. I don't even know where he's at now, like Indianapolis and all that. So he had like nobody to throw to. He had zero good targets that could help him out. And he, like you guys said, he had a pretty so year. Yeah. 2018, obviously, that was
a great year.
That was like, we're going to the Super Bowl, baby. Like after that first game, I was like, okay, it was one bad game where we blew a lead. We got a lot to learn, everything. But after that, I was like, we're going to the Super Bowl. We're winning it all this year. Like this is it. He looked fantastic, and I think the biggest thing was that he was playing with confidence. Like in any sport or even in life, you always have to go with confidence, because if you're timid, you're not going to play well. And I think everyone can agree with that. Like you have to go out there, like, you know what? I'm going to bust my ass. I'm going to go out there. Like I'm going to throw for 350 yards and 4 touchdowns. Like nobody's going to slow me down. If I make a mistake, then shit, I'm just going to toss it out and move on to the next play. He was playing phenomenal. Everybody looked great. He had, God, I'm trying to think. We had Robinson then, right? 2018. Yeah, we had Robinson.
Yeah, we did. I think that was his first year.
Yep. Yeah, we had Robinson, Miller, it's 2 of our top guys and everything. Oh, Taylor Gabriel. That's what I was thinking of. We had Taylor Gabriel at that time. He was doing really well for us. Tariq Cohen was a big threat in both rushing game. We looked fantastic, but of course, we all know how that season happened. How that season ended, I should say.
Double doink, baby.
And to all you Bears fans out there listening, saying that game scarred you for life, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear your crap. You know why? I was there. And not only was I there, that was in my end zone. So our season tickets are section 252, row 6. So like right behind the goalpost, essentially. I watched it happen. Like I can break it down for you too. So it's 4th down. Parkey trots out there. every Bears fan is having a panic attack. They're like, no, but like, of course, it has to come down to this, right? Like, of course, the worst possible scenario has to happen. So he's trotting out there. Everyone's holding their breath, like, oh my God, kicks it through. Everyone's going nuts. But then the refs are like, hold up. Doug Peterson called a timeout to ice, and they're like, oh no.
That was a great coaching call. And then,
And
then we all know what happened.
And of course, goes up, boom, boom. And I kid you not, it literally for like a split second started rolling, and it was like, no. And it just falls flat. And at that moment, 62,000 fans at that stadium, dead silent. Like, it was honestly like so ominous. It was just a 5-second pause of silence, like. And the next thing you know, Eagles fans are going nuts. The Eagles players are going nuts. And I was just like, I just sat there in disbelief. Right? Yeah, I couldn't believe it. And, you know, obviously I was pissed about about Parky and everything, and I hated him. But what really kind of made me mad is that when he was running the tunnel, security, like everyone literally had to like cover him because people were throwing stuff at him. It's like, why? Like, I'm a diehard Bears fan. I live and die by this team. But I'm not going to throw like garbage and beer cans at a guy.
That's
and
dehumanizing.
People were sending him death threats.
That's stupid.
Like,
I remember that too. Like he missed a field goal. There's a lot of other things in life that are more important than a guy that missed a field goal in a playoff game.
Exactly. Like the fact that people are sending him death threats, that's sickening. Yeah. It's disgusting. Like, you are a terrible person for that. Like, you know, obviously I was upset, but I got over it. Like I say, like, oh, I'm not over it. I'll never forget that. But it's like I always say, my favorite phrase as a Bears fan: win or lose, they still get paid, and we have to go to work tomorrow. So that's
true,
just it's literally what we've been saying for years. And you know, it's kind of how I get through the day. But it's just, yeah, I'll never forget that. But anyway, back to the whole Trubisky thing. Yeah, and obviously the past 2 seasons, it just looks like he's lost a lot of confidence. Like, it doesn't look like he's throwing that ball with everything he's got. It looks like he's kind of second guessing himself. And the biggest thing too, there's Allen Robinson.
Yeah, he has a lot to figure out. It's going to be interesting to see how the Bears handle their quarterback situation going forward. But that was the rant that we were very looking much forward to.
So, like, just one last thing to wrap it up. Just with this coming season, you know, I really don't think Trubisky's going to come back. And, you know, I wish him nothing but the best in the future. I'm sorry we couldn't, you know, have a program that developed you well enough. And my final thoughts: sell the team. Virginia McCaskey, sell the damn team. The McCaskies need to go. Ted Phillips needs to go. It's just a joke. Like, literally all our issues are spanning from the top. And until the team is sold and we're under new ownership and we have a whole new front office, we will not be good. So that's my thoughts on that. But yeah, you know, again, no matter what happens, I'll still love this team. Bear down.
I agree. We need fresh faces. I don't know what have to happen outside of that, but that we're a middling franchise and we need superstar players and we need a quarterback. Maybe we'll get Deshaun Watson. Who knows?
Right. Rumor has it the top 2 teams for him right now are the Jets and the Dolphins. So
I think it is. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how that all goes. But all right. So we're going to be shifting to another NFC North team. Matt is going to be talking about for a little bit the Lions hiring of Dan Campbell, who was a tight ends coach for the New Orleans Saints, and Brad Holmes, who was once in the Rams organization, I believe, who's director of scouting for them. So Matt, what do you make of the hiring so far?
When I first saw it, you know, I feel like nobody really knew who this guy was.
Mm-hmm.
Only thing that we knew that he was the tight ends coach for the Saints. As I was watching some interviews and obviously the iconic press conference that he gave,
that was crazy.
That was.
I think that, you know, media personnel kind of hated the move, and I don't know if it was so much the move or the way that he approached himself for the first time. Me personally, I think he's bringing energy to the city that's much needed for the Lions. You know, the main thing that media personnel has been saying is that, you know, it was unprofessional. I don't see really, I mean, you could argue it was, but again, how many times have we seen guys, I'm thankful to be on this team and give that same boring blah blah speech, this was something different. And I think that since he's not a real big name guy, this could be a chance for like a clean slate. Obviously, there were some big names there, such as getting Eric Bellamy from, which is the offensive coordinator from the Chiefs. That didn't work out. Um, but and also I think Robert Sala, which he's now the coach for the Jets. But again, you know, us having Matt Patricia, and, him being a real big name, we've had it, we've been through it, and obviously, if you watch, football, you've seen what he did for the team. Like this man got fired halfway through the season.
Mm.
So I think kind of taking a step back and getting someone who isn't a real big name, but can still provide that fire, and leadership to the team. I think it's a go for the Lions. Obviously, it's going to start it, so we should see what happens. But I think it's a start. As far as Brad Holmes, like Kyle said, you came from the Rams when they were in St. Louis and now in Los Angeles. Um, One thing that I researched about him specifically is that he's an analytics guy. And basically, he's able to find players that fit the roster, but at the same time will make an impact on the team. Three guys that he was responsible for drafting was safety John Johnson III, wide receiver Cooper Cup, and defensive tackle Aaron Donald. Um,
Ooh.
Great
three of those
pick.
guys
Yeah.
are yeah, they're outstanding players, especially on this Rams team. Um, but if he's able to get, now obviously he's not gonna get the same exact players, but the upcoming years, if he's able to draft guys of this caliber, um, we have a promising future. I know one phrase that he mentioned was instead of a rebuild, he used retool. And I think that he wants to draft guys who can make plays but also win games for the Lions. So at the moment I'm content with who we have. Obviously, the whole Matt Stafford rumors have been, up and down. um, Me personally, I think he's gone after this season. And the reason why I said that is during this offseason. The reason why I say that is because obviously it's only his first you know, post conference press conference. But the way he worded it seemed like Matt Stafford is a top 10 quarterback in the league right now. And obviously he's not going to be in the league for a long, long time. And he said that, he wants Matt Stafford to be in a situation where he can win now. With that being said, I personally think that a good destination for Matt Stafford is the Colts. They love
Interesting.
having a vet at the quarterback position. As we know, they, had the last quarterback. Why am I bringing on his names? What's it?
Philip Rivers.
Philip
Phil,
Rivers.
yeah.
Philip Rivers, yeah.
Yeah. Blanked out.
Fudging
Sorry,
Philip
Philip.
Rivers.
But obviously, as we all know, he retired. But again, they're in that spot where they're a win now team. But I feel that, in my honest opinion, this is not because Matt Stafford played up the Lions. I think Matt Stafford, as of now, is better than Philip Rivers. And
Oh,
if he's
definitely.
on that coach team for next season, you got to think the last 2 or 3 years, the Colts been either making it the first round of the playoffs or in that wild card spot. You get Matt Stafford on that team as your QB1, they're easily win the first round and maybe going on to the second. So, I think that's a good move. And plus, that offense is a young core, but they're moving at a good pace. T.Y. Hilton, um, the running back from Wisconsin.
Jonathan
They got
Taylor.
Jonathan Taylor, yes. And then the rookie, see the other guy from the wide receiver. What was his name?
Is it Zach Pascal? Is he on? He's on there, right?
That sounds
It
familiar.
sounds familiar.
I
Yeah,
thought,
yeah.
number 14. I thought, yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yeah, yeah.
So they have a decent offense. So me personally, like I said, if I want Matt Stafford to go somewhere, that somewhere for me would be the coach. So
Yeah.
that's my take on the Lions and where we stand. So we'll see the next couple of weeks, months, and hopefully we're not at the bottom of the division.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
interesting.
it'll probably be us.
Yeah, maybe. That's a good point that you bring up. So for Campbell, and I'll keep it short because I'm not a Lions fan, so I don't have too much of a say in this, and I'm sure Steven has something to say about it too. But
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
I think Campbell is an interesting choice. He's not conventional,
Mm,
because he's never been a coordinator.
all
I
right.
don't necessarily know if that's a prerequisite. I don't know enough about the ins and outs of the NFL to make a determination as to whether that should be a prerequisite or not. But it's going to be very interesting to see how Campbell is able to lead a group of men. It seems like he's a motivator, which is good. It seems like that's something that Detroit needs, especially because Patricia wasn't really the best fit, and I think we saw that pretty quickly. Um, Campbell seems like he is just going to be a player's coach where he'll get in your face and he'll want you to get better, but he'll also be able to teach you about anything, especially the tight ends on that team like TJ Hawkinson. So
Yeah. Oh yeah. Hawkinson's a
I'm
dog.
he is. So I'm thinking that it could be a good move. But I'm guessing that only time will tell. But Steven, did you have something to say about that?
Yeah, I saw the interview where he was talking about I don't remember it word for word. He was like, yeah, we're gonna break their kneecaps or bite
Yeah.
their kneecaps.
I was
They're gonna
dying at
punch.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're gonna punch us in the mouth, and we're gonna smile back. I'm like, you know what? I like that because like Matt, like you were saying, most coaches are like, I'm very humble to be here.
Exactly.
I'm going to turn this franchise around.
Mm,
Oh, I got a plan in place. But this guy, you can tell he's got fire. And you kind of need that in the NFL. Get in guys' faces. Like, remind you, like, yeah, you're making millions of dollars, but guess what? I'm your effing coach. You're like, you
right.
listen to me. So I like that. And to your point, I totally agree with the whole Matthew Stafford thing. You know what? Yes, the Lions are a division rival, the Bears and everything. But I've always respected Matt Stafford. Like, he's the guy that will literally take a hit after he throw the pass from like a big 350-pound defensive tackle, looked like
Yep.
he's dead on the floor, get up, shake it off, see some butterflies, like, oh my god, all right, get it together, rush back to the line. And one of my favorite plays, like my dad and I always talk about this, the fake spike, fake it, toss it over the line. Like,
Yeah.
he has a great quarterback IQ, and I admire that very much. And I agree 100% with you said about him going to Indianapolis. The Colts have probably like a top 3 defense. Like, at one point they were actually ranked number 1 over the Steelers. Like, their defensive backs are awesome. Up front you got DeForest Buckner, who I didn't know this until I watched him play. He's my height, so I'm 6'8". He's like 6'7", 6'8", and he's a big dude. So you get that guy plugging up, the holes and stopping these running backs. Like, it's gonna be scary. So I think they really are, like you said, one piece away from success. I really think that comes with quarterback. And Matthew Stafford, has a great football IQ. I think he has what it takes to carry this team. So yeah, I agree with that. But yeah, we'll see, how this coaching hire pans out and everything. But yeah.
One thing I did find too about him is that he used to play for the Lions from 06 to 08.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Yeah, and I knew he looked super familiar.
That name, yeah, it sounded familiar.
Yeah, so I think too, being a player for the team that you're coaching, I feel like it kind of also gives a slight advantage because you can kind of relate to these players on a personal level, especially I think one of those years is when the Lions went 0-16. And obviously in the past 4 years they haven't been doing that good. So I think kind of it's going to be an emotional ride, but I think that sometimes you need to tap into the emotional side of the game of football to get over that hump and be successful. So.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like you said, you got to tap in those emotions. A lot of people forget. And again, this goes with any sport. It's a mental game. Like, it's not all about, like talent on the field. You gotta be in the right mental state. You got to get these guys fired. You can't just be like, okay, do your best, guys.
All right.
You got to get these guys fired up. You got to get these guys inspired. Like, and that's the one thing too. Like, I meant to say earlier with my Bears rant, like, people forget football is a business. Sports are a business. You got to bring somebody in that's going to do their job and carry the company, carry the team. Because guess what? They're not doing their job. you're done. You're kicked to the curb. So you gotta, yeah, like you said, you got to get these guys, like, jacked up emotionally and I guess my biggest key for him this upcoming season is to give these guys a reason to follow you. Yeah. Give these guys a reason to, to like admire you, like look up to you and like respect you as a coach. I definitely think, with that fire, fiery personality, he has that. And can't say that for the Bears with Nagy. That's just, I'm starting off on that tangent again, but he needs to go. Him and Pace gotta go.
I agree with both you guys. I do think that you need to tap into that emotional side, because if you're not fired up and if you're not in a good mental place, your body will not follow. Mm-hmm. And it's really up to your motivation and your personality to really determine whether you're going to be able to walk on that field and just do good things. So I definitely agree. So that was the Lions hiring, and make sure to let us know what you guys think about that. Finally, for our last part of our football segment, before we move on to basketball, we're going to be talking about our rapid predictions for the AFC and NFC title games, which are on the 4th. We're all very excited for those. Tomorrow's going to be a great day. I'm going to sit on my couch. It's going to be awesome.
Big day, baby.
All right, so let's start with let's keep the NFC North flavor. Let's start with the NFC title game. So we got the Packers, led by probable MVP candidate Aaron Rodgers, and the Tampa Bay Bucks, led by the GOAT, Mr. Tom Brady himself.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to start with Steven. Steven, who do you have in this game and why? I'm curious to see what you're going to say.
Yeah, you know what? Obviously, it's all my viewers. Yes, I'm a diehard Bears fan. Yes, I despise the Packers, but I'm not going to be biased about this. I'm not going to be one of those fans where I'm just going to talk about my opinion. We all know I hate Aaron Rodgers. We all know I hate the Packers. But with that being said, the Packers are a great team this year. They have a lot of weapons on offense. the hookup between Rodgers and Adams has just been unreal.
Scary.
He's just been just toasting defensive backs. And I was very interested to see how he would match up against Jalen Ramsey, who's been locking down big time names like Stephon Diggs, and he shut down DK Metcalf, who I'm a big fan of, and Adams burned him. He burned him good. And yes, they've been looking great. In the what am I talking about? The passing game and all that. Rushing has been good with Aaron Jones and everything. They have a solid defense led by Jair Alexander and the secondary. So it'll be interesting to see, if he can shut down. He's probably going to be matched with Mike Evans. But my key thing here is, the Buccaneers clearly have a lot of weapons on offense in the receiving game. You got Mike Evans, who, without a doubt, best receiver on the team. You got, what's his face, Chris Godwin, Scotty Miller, who, fun fact, is actually from Barrington, Illinois, so just about half hour from me. You got Gronk, Cameron Brate, probably, the Gronk, pretty. And then you got Cameron Brate is another pretty solid tight end. Was it Ronald Jones, right? That's their running back. Yeah. Okay, I keep getting mixed up with Aaron Jones. I'm pretty sure he'll be back for the game. So you got the 1-2 punch with him and Leonard Fournette. You got a great offensive line protecting the GOAT, undisputed GOAT, I might add.
Yes, sir.
Tom Brady.
Sir. Yep.
And a lot of people let's put this in. I'm a big Tom Brady fan. I love what he does, and I think it's awesome how people hate him and how he just keeps being successful, because you know what? He has earned all those rings. The dude was literally the 199th pick overall back in, was it 2001? Or 99?
I think it was 99 or 98.
99? Okay, okay. It was 99 because 2001 was the guy, so I'm pretty sure. We all seen the picture of, unathletic looking Tom. Nobody wanted him. The Patriots gave him a chance, and he stepped up and he proved himself, and he has backed it all up. You know what? Yes, there's all the Deflate Gate and all these, cheating scandals, but there really is no solid evidence against it. And people like my dad always says, people just love to hate a winner. He's the GOAT 100%, and he is aging like fine wine. At 43 years old, he is showing no signs of slowing down. Obviously a few interceptions, but what people are forgetting with that, he's in a completely new team, new offensive scheme. He has he has to build chemistry with his receiver. So obviously in the beginning of the season, there's a few miscues, because with Edelman, he could just look at him slightly, and he knows where he's going, but he's got to build that chemistry with Godwin, with Evans, with these guys. And obviously he has that chemistry with Gronk, so that helps. But you know what? a lot of people are picking the Packers, and yeah, I think they got a good chance to win this game. But all I can say is don't sleep on the Buccaneers. They have a lot of firepower on both sides of the ball, and everyone is like, "Oh, well, they're playing in Lambeau. Like, it's going to make a difference with the cold." Yes, but you're forgetting Tom Brady for his entire career has played in New England, which gets cold as hell during this time. Yeah, he's played in the snow. This is nothing new to him. It's going to be a routine. So I really think it's just going to be a really big shootout. But honestly, no surprise here. I think the Bucs are going to pull it off. And here's why. Out of all the teams that the Packers have faced this year that they lost, the Buccaneers gave them the most trouble. That was their worst loss this year. The blitz just broke through the Packers line. They sacked him. I think at least 3 or 4 times, and they showed a statistic on ESPN. I know I look like an idiot not having the stats and everything, but they showed that their blitz, really made Rodgers uncomfortable. So you know what? I think they're going to do it again. I think the Bucs are going to pull it off, but I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think it's really going to be a shootout. It's literally just going to be a shootout of just body blows. It's going to go to the 12th round, and it's going to end on, either a defensive stop or somebody's going to get a touchdown or field goal. It's going to be a great game. You got 2 heavyweights, and yeah.
All right. I got the Packers. I'm just saying it right now. I think Aaron Rodgers is the best player in the league this year. And I don't know how they're going to slow him down. I just don't. I think Tom Brady, for as good as he is, I don't think he's as good as Aaron Rodgers right now in this moment, even though Brady is the GOAT.
Okay, I was going to say, watch what you're saying there.
No, for sure. Yeah. I think Rodgers is going to go down as probably a top 5 or 6 NFL player when it's all done. But
and just sorry to cut you off real quick with that comment. I'm not saying Rodgers isn't good or anything. Rodgers is good. He's going to go in the Hall of Fame, probably one of the best quarterbacks of all time. But I still had Brady ahead.
Oh yeah, no, yeah.
I just don't want people to be like, "Are you stupid or something?" Like, obviously, yes, I'm a Bears fan, but I do respect Rodgers for what he does. I think he's a great quarterback, and he's just unreal out there. So,
Matt, who do you got in this game?
Hearing what Steven said made me feel more confident in my answer. I think that this game is going to be a battle of the defenses. And just seeing how the Bucs were able to come back against the Saints was amazing, because before, I said the same thing about, I was like, going to be a battle of the defense when it came to the Saints and the Bucs, but just to think that how many weapons that the Saints have and how they were able to pick them apart, no pun intended, but it's crazy to see what that same Bucs defense can do against the Packers. One thing I will say about Brady, I agree. I think he's the GOAT. Shout out to Michigan, go blue. But I just feel like Tom Brady's IQ and the way he's able to pick apart defenses in times when you least expect it.
It's amazing.
It's phenomenal. And I think that, yes, the Packers do have key players on the defense, but is it enough to stop those offensive key players for the Bucs? It's not going to be a blowout. It's going to be a close one. Like I said, it's going to be a battle of defenses. But something's telling me that, Tom Brady's going to just be Tom Brady and do what he does. And I have the Bucs coming out on top over the Packers, man.
All right. So we got 2 Bucs votes, 1 Packers vote. Bears fans out there, I am not a traitor, I promise. I just think the Packers are going to win this one. I do think it's going to be close, though. I definitely agree.
100%. Yeah.
All right. Chiefs and Bills.
Ooh, Chiefs and Bills, man.
I'm so excited for this game. So, first of all, just let me say, I'm so excited for the Bills just because they've been so bad for so long. They had not won a division in all of our lifetimes, including you, Steven. And you're and you're a year older than both of us. Mm-hmm. And they finally did it. They're in the playoffs. They got a great team. Josh Allen's a great quarterback. But I got the Chiefs. I'm just going to point that out right now. I'm not betting against Patrick Mahomes at home. I'm not. It's the same reason why I picked the Chiefs to beat the Browns last week. Mahomes is just too good to lose against this young team. And the Bills' defense is bend but don't break. They have a good defense, but it's not great. Mm-hmm. And the Bills' offense is fantastic. Like it's on par with the Chiefs in terms of their firepower. But I got Mahomes and the Chiefs in this one. So I'm gonna go over to Matt for this one. Then we're gonna go to Steven. Who do you have in this game, Matt?
Yeah, I have Chiefs as well. I think both of these offenses are electric. They move real fast down the field.
Mm-hmm.
So look out for a high scoring game. In my opinion, I think, and I don't think it's gonna be a blowout. Because both of these teams, again, this is the AFC championship game.
Yep.
So it's gonna be real neck and neck. But I have the Chiefs on top.
All right, Steven.
Yeah. So, oh man, this is a tough one for me. But before I announce my pick, I have to say, yeah, like Kyle was saying, congratulations, Bills Mafia. You guys are awesome. Like watching the
They're a great
videos.
fan base, yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like it's just hilarious. Like the whole breaking the tables stuff. And I saw a really cool video of Bills fan who just announced that he's cancer free, that he completed his final treatment and everything. And to celebrate, he put on a helmet and he smashed the tables. I thought that was awesome. And I thought very, very classy move by the Bills fan base for raising money for Lamar Jackson's organization. That proud of you guys. That's awesome. Very classy move. Jesus, sorry. But man, looking at both of these teams, like you guys have said, we were looking at, again, in the AFC, a couple of heavyweights. Like the Bills have proven that they've improved over the years, especially Josh Allen. Like when he came into the league, obviously he had the talent and everything. He had the arm strength. He was a little iffy at first. Everyone was kind of hating on him, like, he's not that good and all that. But this year he broke out and it was awesome. He emerged as not only a great thrower, like that dude can huck it deep. He's got a huge arm, but absolutely. But he can run. He's another big dude, like close to my height, like 6'6", 6'7", and he can plow through guys, and that's awesome. But he's a big dual threat quarterback. He's got Stephon Diggs as his number one target. Freaking Cole Beasley coming out of nowhere, like getting 11 receptions a game. Like it's unreal. They got Singletary, and I forget who their other running back is. They've been really solid. The defense, like you said, they have a lot of good pieces, but I really don't think they have like the best defense ever. Like you got Tre'Davious White, Micah Hyde. There's some good defensive backs. I can't think of their linebackers name blanking, but I know they got a pretty decent linebacking core and defensive line. And analyzing the Chiefs, I mean, come on, the reigning Super Bowl champs only lost 2 games this year. Patrick Mahomes just unreal. Like I'm a little curious to see how he's gonna play, because I know they just announced he cleared concussion protocol, but I think we all knew he was gonna play.
Probably.
Like it was, if they had to pull a weekend at Bernie's where they're basically holding him up out there, they were going to. But the Chiefs, gosh, all around, I'm going to say best team in the league for sure. Like on offense, you got, of course, Patrick Mahomes, one of the best quarterbacks in the league, and he's only 25. You got Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Le'Veon Bell. So you get that 1-2 punch at running back. You got my man Travis Kelce, probably the best tight end in the league, and I will defend that. Number one, you got the speedster Tyreek Hill. You got can't think of his name. You got Pringle. You got Sammy Watkins. I think who's their other receiver? I can't think of his name.
Deshaun. It's Demarcus Robinson.
Robinson. Yeah, they have. There's one more I think I'm missing. They have a really great receiving core. They have a lot of weapons on offense and defense. They're pretty solid too. Like they got. I'm trying to think of somebody. They got Chris Jones up front. They got Tyrann Mathieu in the back.
Honey Badger.
They got some pretty good. They got some pretty good players on both sides of the ball. But you know what? Like you guys have been saying, this is going to be a heavyweight match. They're going to match each other blow for blow, and it's going to come to the point where something's got to give. It's going to be, like a 4th and inches. Somebody's going to get it, a field goal, a late turnover, something like that. It's going to be a big match, but the Chiefs are going to take it, and that's my prediction. The Chiefs, I think, are going to take this one. Like I said, they're both matched. I wouldn't say evenly, but I'd say that they're both, like I said, they're both 2 heavyweights. They're both, both got a lot of weapons, but I think the Chiefs definitely have the edge just a little bit. Like you saw last year, the Texans were beating the Chiefs, and like the Undertaker, Mahomes woke up and he lit them up and came back. And I think, Mahomes is going to come back strong and he's going to lead this team to the Super Bowl for the second year in a row. So that's my pick.
All right. So I got Chiefs Packers. Steven's got Chiefs Bucks. Matt's got Chiefs Bucks. It's gonna be crazy. I don't remember a weekend that was, or a Sunday that was this loaded with title games. I mean, all these four teams have a legitimate shot, I think, of hoisting the trophy.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see where it goes. Tomorrow, I'm not doing anything outside of watching those games, my guys. So it's gonna be awesome. All right.
100%. Yeah.
This concludes our football segment of this week's episode 8 of Area 11. We're gonna go into basketball now. So transitioning into basketball. So Matt and I and Kenny on last week's episode talked about the logistics of the James Harden trade to Brooklyn, how it involved a couple teams, how it was really complex, draft picks swapping left and right. But the main piece was obviously James Harden going to the Brooklyn Nets. So we are about, I think, a little over a week since the trade happened. Not many games have been played, obviously, since that trade went down. But we just wanted to do a really quick check-in as to how this trade is working for every team involved. I'll just start to kick it off. I'm just gonna say right now, Kevin Durant and James Harden look amazing together. When Kyrie was still out, they had great chemistry on the court. I was watching highlights, I was reading stuff, and they just look like they're in sync. It looks like James Harden is now freshly motivated. As much as I don't agree with the way that he got out of Houston in terms of how he handled it as a professional, he looks great in Brooklyn. He looks happy in Brooklyn. He looks rejuvenated in Brooklyn. But I will say, though, I like how Cleveland beat them twice in a row, because Jared Allen was on the Nets, got traded to Cleveland. That's part of the deal. And I'm happy that Cleveland beat him twice, just to kind of knock him in the teeth a little bit, give Brooklyn, kind of give him on just kind of put him on the edge. It's going to be interesting to see how Kyrie fits in with them long term, especially because in one of those games against Cleveland, Kyrie took like almost twice as many shots as James Harden or something like that. So there is only one ball, so it's going to be interesting to see how it's going to work out. But I know one thing: Kevin Durant and James Harden, at least together, just look like a once in a generation pairing. So I'll pass it off to whoever wants to go next. But it looks really exciting so far.
Oh, you can go, Steven.
Yeah. Oh, you want to go?
Well, you can go.
Oh, I can. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Yeah. So, I'm a big Kevin Durant guy. It makes me so happy to see that he came back from this injury and rose like a phoenix from the ashes. Oh my God, I can't talk today. But yeah, they're looking really scary. Like both him and Harden together are looking unreal. And on paper, like I was telling Kyle, on paper, they're looking like the best team in the league, or not in the league. Well, yeah, one of the best teams in the league, best team in the East that can match the Lakers in the finals blow for blow. But here comes my little, tangent thing. They lost some key defensive players. Like they lost Jared Allen. They lost. Okay, who else did they trade away? I'm forgetting.
So Matt just Karis LeVert, and they also gave away Taurean Prince, who's on Cleveland now as well.
Yep. So they lost some big defensive pieces, and honestly, my view on basketball, we've all heard the common phrase, defense wins championships, and I stand by that 100%. Because you know what? Yes, they got a ton of offensive guys, but if they're playing a big offensive team like the Lakers, it's going to come down to who can get the last stop. Like who's gonna hold the lead, 1 or 2 points, who's gonna get that final turnover and hold them and all of that. And I really don't think the Nets can do it, honestly. I'll be I won't be surprised if they do. They're a great team. I'll eat my words and everything, but as of now, long term, I really don't think that they can go all the way. I really think some team's gonna come up and upset them. I'm not gonna say it's, and I don't think it's gonna be somebody's gonna come sweep them. I think somebody might take them, like the Bucks might take them 6-7 games. It's gonna come down to a missed shot, or somebody grabs the rebound and holds it, or a forced turnover, and that's it. Because it's evident they needed these guys like Jared Allen dunking on the Nets and running away laughing like that. That opened great. A lot of people's eyes. I was like, dang, that kind of obviously it was 2 games. But it really was is this trade really working out? Like, dang. But yeah, with my whole defensive thing, like while I'm on the topic, so I played basketball my whole life, and every coach I ever had always drilled into me the importance of defense, that defense wins championships and all of that. We would run drills where, like you're dead tired from running suicides up and down the court all day. And you're running game scenarios where there's like 30 seconds left on the clock. You're up by 3. Other teams in the double bonus, and you can't foul because they're going to get sent to the line. You have to play clean. You got to force that turnover. You gotta hold them, force them to miss a shot, box out, grab that ball. It honestly, like, to me, it's so important. And I actually did a little survey. So obviously I didn't like 100 people, like 1,000 people or something. So I just asked around, it's like a bunch of people I know who played basketball, like, competitively. So like, in high school or like, through AAU, like a travel team, or even in college. So 22 people responded back to me about it. And 20 of them said they agree that defense wins championships and all that. And that's probably one of the most important aspects. And the two people, like, two people that disagreed, I'm not saying like you're wrong. Like I was saying earlier, like before we started, it's all a matter of like, your perspective, like the type of player you are. Like some guys are more offense. Everyone's like, well, if you have a great offense, then you can easily overpower a team with a weaker offense and stuff. Like that's totally fine. Like there's no wrong answer. It's just, this is truly like my belief and my opinion. And real quick, just want to give a shout out to all the people that answered. I want to give a shout out to Megan Talbot, Sam Lanedecker, Kristen Mason, Brooke O'Halloran, Alyssa Weeble, and Cameron Call. And a lot of these people, that I talked to, like Megan and Cameron, like, played or are still playing at ISU. Go Birds. Like my dad, like I said, my dad played basketball in college, and he definitely emphasized the importance of defense. If he was still here, my grandfather, miss you, he played at DePaul, and I know for sure he would have said like the importance of defense. So moral of the story, I really think it's going to, like, they're really going to miss those defensive pieces because, as we all know, Harden's not really a defensive guy. So it'll be interesting to see. But you know what? I really don't see them winning the championship just because they're really hurting on defense. And this may not be, this is just my bold prediction right now. I'm not saying this is the end all be all. We'll see how it happens on the road. But right now, like, they look good, but the key question is, can they, maintain this firepower, or are they going to fall apart, especially now that you got, 3 really big head cases on the team. So Matt, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I think that if on this team it was just KD and Harden, they were still able to keep either the Vert or Jared Allen, I think this team chances of success would be higher. But the fact that both those guys are gone, and you have 3 guys who um are pure scorers and they're dominant in that area, it's kind of iffy. And I know it's still early. The trade just happened, and
Oh,
Kyrie
definitely. Yeah.
this is his, like, what, second game back, or first or second.
Yeah. Something like that.
It's not. Yeah, I feel like, it's in due time we'll see. But like Steven was saying, I feel that KD is still the middleman between the 3.
Definitely.
And Harden and Kyrie is, I want to say, the problem, but they like to have the ball in their hand a lot.
Yeah.
And so, on offense, that could be a problem. It could not be a problem. But again, on defense, I feel like KD is that guy where he'll give you his all, both on offense and defense. Like, he'll do whatever it takes. We saw
Oh,
it.
definitely.
Perfect example. We saw that in Golden State. You know what I'm saying? He did what he did. They won the championship, and that's it. So yeah, the Brooklyn Nets and their big 3. I feel like Stephen A. Smith said when it first happened, it's either a championship or the team is a bust. There is no in between. There's nothing more. There's nothing less. I feel like
Agreed.
they either get there and win, or they get there and lose. Because if they can't do it this year, I don't think that this team can do it in the next 2 or 3 years. So that's my take.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, I just think that this team is gonna be able to score with anyone. The question, and like what you guys were saying, is if you don't even have a league average defense, it just becomes so tough, because in the playoffs, the pace of play slows. So offense will sometimes be hard to come by. I mean, take the 2016 Golden State Warriors. this was one of the greatest offensive teams of all time, but they really failed to generate a lot of offense in the playoffs because if defenses were like hounding on Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, they didn't really have a lot of other guys that were able to generate their own offense because defenses just became smarter. So this is going to be a really interesting thing. I do think Brooklyn's going to at least make the conference finals.
Yeah.
They have too much talent not to. The question is whether they're going to be able to have a good enough defense to carry them when it comes down to it. So, but hey, I still have the Lakers win the chip anyway. So, we'll see about that.
Yeah, I could see it. But yeah, I mean, like you guys said, so the word I was looking for, Matt, when you're talking, you have a bunch of big personalities, I guess is the best way to put it. These kind of like these guys with, bigger egos. Like obviously, we all want to score. Like when you play basketball, we all want to score. Of course we do. So you got three big guys that kind of have that attitude. So, a lot of people are forgetting, like I said, looks great on paper, but how does it, like I was telling Kyle the other day, how does the chemistry work though? Because if you got three of the best players in the world that are like ready to kill each other out there and they can't seem to figure it out, then it's just going to hurt the team. Like it's just going to bring the team down more, morally, and they're not going to play well. Because if if they're out there instead of playing together and playing as a team, like hey, hey, good, hey, good block or whatever, hey, wash off that foul or forget about that foul. God, I can't even talk. Forget about that foul. Move on. We're still a team. Yeah. Then they're gonna have success. But if they're like, dude, what the hell is your problem? Why did you foul him? Like, why didn't you make that shot? Like, no, why didn't you pass it to me? That it's gonna fall apart from the inside. It's all just gonna deteriorate. But I think I still think it's a little bit too early to tell. But I kind of agree with Kyle. I think talent-wise, they could make the conference finals. I'll be pretty shocked if they don't. Mm-hmm. But yeah, let's see how this pans out. I mean, it's a little too early to tell, but yeah.
Yeah, they're going to be super exciting. They're definitely league pass worthy for the rest of the season. They already were, but you add a guy like James Harden, it's going to be crazy. Oh, and just one more thing before we move on. Shout out to my guy Victor Oladipo in Houston. He's off to a really good start with them. He's averaging 22, 4, and 6 on just under 40% shooting, but he'll get that under control.
Yeah, you can heat up.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, he's averaging like 2 or 3 more assists per game. And the last thing too, so for Karis LeVert, he hasn't played with the Pacers so far because doctors found a small mass on his kidney. Hoping that he's okay. He's a great player. Seems like he's a really good guy too. So, and he's a Michigan alum. Matt, go blue.
Yes, sir. Go blue.
All right. So that is the quick recap of the James Harden trade so far. Again, we're only about a week into it, maybe like a week and a half, but it looks like it's pretty interesting so far, to say the very least. So it'll be interesting. Next, we're going to be talking about the Mavericks. They have Kristaps Porzingis.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
This is a topic that is also very near and dear to Steven's heart because his favorite player is Luka Doncic, and I just think that I'll pass it on to Matt first, and then we'll finish with Steven on this.
Yeah, I was like, give me like 1 second. I gotta put my Luka jersey on.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. So
hell yeah.
All right, Matt, when you watch the Dallas Mavericks, adding a guy like Kristaps Porzingis to their team, with Luka balling at an MVP level, with guys like Josh Richardson, Tim Hardaway for the supporting cast, where do you see this Dallas team at right now, and do you think they can make a run?
Well, that's a good question. I think Luka is balling out. I think his supporting cast is doing a phenomenal job in helping him ball out. With Porzingis coming back, I'm kind of iffy because I wouldn't say that his gameplay is inconsistent. It's just his health and the injuries that come and go too likely. I think that the Mavericks being the Mavericks, they're in that spot where they can go deep in the playoffs, but they need everybody on board to keep going. And when you lose a player like Porzingis, that's the big man for the team. And when he's gone, they're hurting. Now, again, it depends on who they're playing, but if they match up well against some team and they can do without Porzingis, then so be it. But again, the Mavericks are one of those teams where I feel like they need everybody on deck to contribute to win games. I feel like Luka's obviously going to ball in, day out. That's not the problem. I just see the problem again. I'm iffy on Porzingis because you know he's in and out. You know what I'm saying when it comes to injuries. And I saw a article today, and I guess the title of it was something similar. Did the Knicks win the trade? Like I guess in the long run. Um, and I don't know how to feel about that because I feel like the Knicks are obviously the Knicks right now. And if you're looking at the Mavericks team as a whole, the Mavericks are obviously winning. But if we're just keying in on Porzingis, it's kind of 50-50. Now, if I think that this is just future talk, but if they somehow can acquire another big man who is not as injury prone as Porzingis,
Yeah.
I think this team can easily be a top four in the West. I feel like the people they have right now, they're making it work and they're managing. I don't. I think right now they're like fifth in the West.
I think that I think
They are
sixth or seventh. I think I
yeah.
just
So
checked.
yeah, they're currently tied with Denver for the last playoff spot
Yeah,
And
in the
again, right,
in the West.
I look at that is they're pacing themselves, right? You don't want to be the 1-2 seed now. It's kind of like baseball. Like in the early, like when season first kicks off, you don't want to be that first. You want to put yourself and whatever. Now the Lakers can do it because again, they're the
Oh,
Lakers.
Bron.
But teams like the Mavericks, I think like they're in a good spot right now because again, it's still early in the season. They can make their way back. But again, I feel like this team is solid. They're good, but when it comes down to clutch games and clutch moments, they need everybody on that court to contribute to the win. So.
Okay. I'll pass it on to Steven after this one.
yes,
So,
sir.
Steven.
Yeah, I just want to show off the jersey real quick. Shout out to my boy Kyle right here getting this me for Christmas. I really appreciate it.
Go Dallas.
Yeah, so Luka Doncic, one of my favorite players since he came in the league and all that. I just love like I said earlier, I was like back when I played basketball, I was always a center or forward because I'm like 6'8", always the big guy. And what I love about Luka and some of these big guys, like like Luka, Porzingis, Jokic, I love seeing a big guy. Oh, and Embiid too, and Anthony Davis for that matter. So talking about it, I love seeing these big guys that can do more than just post up down low, that can dribble and drive and shoot the deep ball and just be dynamic players. Because I hated when I'll never forget my 8th grade coach literally told me big men don't shoot or dribble the ball. If you do that, I'll pull you out of the game. I remember I like hit a shot or something like in a dude's face, and next thing you know, I get like pulled out. I'm like, this is so stupid. Like, why? Like, if I can shoot, like, why can't I? Like, if a big dude, like a 7'1" guy or 7 foot, like Jokic, like 6'8" dude like Luka can shoot like that, then why not let them? Like, that just makes them even more dangerous to shoot over these guys. So yeah, Luka Doncic, obviously his back is hurting from carrying this team. Like, but that's not to say that the Mavericks don't have some good players on their team. So just a quick look at Luka this year. I mean, he's playing phenomenal. Like, he's averaging 26.8 points per game, rebounds per game. I have him at 10, and assists per game 9.6. So he's almost averaging a triple double. If you round up, that's essentially a triple double right there. Like, he's playing out of his mind. And 5 triple doubles on the season. Last night he was 1 rebound away from what I was watching. I was like, come on, man, so Luka get it. But yeah, shooting wise, pretty solid from the field, 45.4. 3-point, he's been a little streaky. Beginning of the season, he was pretty cold. Like, I remember I saw one game he's going with like 0 for 6 from 3. He's been kind of heating up a little bit. Like I said, pretty streaky right now, 28.4 from 3. But hey, I mean, that's easy adjustment. I mean, some players that start out cold and get hot, or vice versa. It's just you just got to keep shooting the ball, just keep working at it. But yeah, as of now, he ranks 10th in the league for points, 14th for rebounds, and assists. He's 3rd. So he's having just another great season, just complete balling out. Just past Michael Jordan, I think it was 15th or 16th on the all-time list for triple doubles, and he's only 21. He's a monster. This kid is the future, and I will argue that till I die. And I just it cracks me up that there are people out there that still are like, oh, he's not elite yet. I'm like, I'm sorry, but what do you consider elite? Like, I'm sorry, but if you think that scoring triple doubles isn't special, you've never picked up a basketball in your life. Like, because scoring, yeah, like scoring a triple double in a game is a very hard feat to accomplish. Averaging a triple double, now that's unreal, but
especially at the NBA level too. So
yeah. So
100%, yeah.
So here's my thing about Dallas. They're only going to get better. So
Agreed,
they're 8-7 right now. They didn't have Porzingis, their second best player, for the first several games of the year. So I got my notes right here.
So when you're done, I gotta talk about the Mavs too.
Oh yeah. So Dallas is 4-2 since he's come back. He's averaging 20-9 on 50% shooting, which is elite in his own right. They are 17th in the league in offensive rating, which is how many points per 100 possessions. They're at 109.6. That's without Porzingis for most of the year. As he gets more ingrained in this offense, I'm not surprised if Dallas is going to be a top 4 or 5 seed by the end of the year. I just
Still
think
early,
yeah. Combine that with Luka's magic.
Luka
they got
Magic.
Good role players: Josh Richardson, Tim Hardaway, Trey Burke, Maxi Kleber. I love Maxi Kleber. He's a great shooter.
Yeah, I was gonna talk about him too.
I just think this Dallas team is just so deep. They got their 2 main stars. Luka's a top 5 guy. I think they could make some noise in the playoffs. Now, I don't have them beating the Lakers yet, but I think that the Mavericks do have a championship in their future, and by future I mean in the next 3 or 4 years. So that is my Mavericks take. But I'll go back to Steven.
Yeah, I'd agree with that 100%. So this Mavericks team, what I love about them is, they're doing it without, multiple superstars on the team. Obviously, you got Luka and KP, who are the 2 big name guys, but it's not like they have a whole all-star team on there. But yeah, obviously Luka and KP playing great. I love that tandem together. They're looking awesome. Jay Rich looking great. I'm pretty sure he's been out the last couple of games. I can't remember if it was due to injury or COVID. I know Maxi Kleber, man. I will say Maxi Kleber is one of the most underrated players in the NBA just because he can shoot threes like no other. He has ice in his veins from behind the arc, and he's great on defense too. So I believe he's still out due to COVID. I'm pretty sure he's one of the players that tested positive. He's been awesome. Jalen Brunson's been playing really well. Another Illinois guy went to Stevenson High School and was on the Villanova championship team. With this team, they got a lot of good pieces. They got some pretty solid big guys too. Besides, obviously they got Boban, who come on, everybody loves Boban. He's such a great personality, and you know what? He has been kind of quiet early in his career. Willie Cauley-Stein, since he got into the league when he was drafted by the Sacramento Kings a few years ago, I don't remember specifically what date, he was kind of quiet and all. He was a great big man in college, but with the Mavericks, earlier when I was talking about, you got to know your role a little bit. Obviously, he's not much of a scorer, but defense and rebounding, he's one of the big guys. He's all over that, and he makes it Luka. He has some beautiful passes that Luka dishes out to Willie for dunks and stuff. He's a great big man. So you know what? They do have some great pieces and a lot of potential in place. And I still think, you know what? It's still early in the season. They're 8-7. They played 15 games, and because I know the season's short, they're playing 50, 60 something.
It's 72.
72, yeah. 72. This still got a long ways to go. Honestly, anything could happen. Anything can change. But I truly believe they'll end up top 4, top 5. And, I've loved Dallas for a long time. I'm not a bandwagon fan at all. Growing up, one of my favorite players was Dirk Nowitzki because, again, I loved watching a big dude shoot the ball, and it kind of inspired me growing up. I want to take shots. Just because my role in the game isn't just set screens, get rebounds, all that. I want to score too. So I thought that was really cool. So yeah, I started watching and loving Luka because they compared him to the next Dirk. So I thought that was awesome. But I really think this Mavericks team has a lot of potential for years to come. This year, I would love to see them win the NBA championship, but I feel that's 1 in a million. I do see them going pretty deep, but I do see them taking a team like the Lakers or the Clippers pretty deep. At least 5 or 6 games. It'll come down to the wire because they can give them a run for their money, But yeah, this team has a lot of potential. I'm excited to see, what they can do in years to come. And I still think they're maybe one key guy away from really having it all together. And Matt, like you said, they need everybody on the same page, clicking together. They need everybody healthy too. They need everybody healthy on the same page if they want to run deep in this.
Yeah, Dallas is just going to be one of those. So I love reading articles about like future power rankings. So those kind of articles are like, where teams are going to likely stand in the next 5-6 years. Dallas for me is going to be one of those teams that they will be at the top of the NBA for at least the next 10 years. And something like that is very hard to say too, because anything can happen in sports. But if and this is assuming they re-sign Luka, which they definitely will.
Oh, definitely. Yeah,
They
100%.
they can put shooters around him. They can put defensive enforcers around him. They're going to be a very elite team in this league for years to come. And the primary reason is going to be Luka. Primary reason is going to be KP. But Rick Carlisle is a great coach. They got a great coaching staff over there.
Definitely.
Love Mark Cuban as an owner.
Oh, yeah. Big Cuban fan.
Dallas is definitely set up. So it's gonna be really fascinating to see them grow.
Agree. Yeah.
So our next and final segment before we land into the Mike Stud bracket, which we're all very excited for, is
Oh my gosh, yeah.
the teams or individuals, it doesn't matter which, that have impressed us or surprised us most in the NBA so far. We're almost a quarter of the way in, I believe. So Matt, I'm going to kick it off to you. What is a team that has surprised you a lot so far, or a player that has surprised you? And this can either be good or bad.
Excuse me.
Okay. So last episode, I think I mentioned Jordan Clarkson. Was doing an incredibly good job with the Jazz. But for this episode, a player that's surprising me is Larry Nance Jr.
Larry,
And
yeah, he's been.
Okay.
and I the only reason why I know this is because I have him on my fantasy team, and
Yes, sir.
he's one of those players that's been consistent in games in which I don't think he would do good in. And I know in the beginning of the season, uh, they put him at center, then power forward, then they put him at the three, and then back to the forward. It was he was all over. But I think as of now they have him, I think at the three. So I guess he's
Sounds
starting to
about
be
right.
comfortable in that position, in that role, and he's providing a good scoring role for the Cavs offense. Um, as far as a team, um, over in the West, I got the Suns. Obviously,
Yes.
I've been a fan of Devin Booker for a minute. So obviously he's been consistent in these past couple of years. But I think what's kind of giving them that oomph is having Chris Paul. And I think that one thing that they lacked in prior years was not having a veteran presence on the team. And
Yes.
including CP3 to this lineup, I think is giving them that IQ and that knowledge to beat teams and strategically plan their offense and defense accordingly. And I think that 1-2 lineup with CP3 and Devin Booker is something that um, is slept on because I feel like they don't have the talk like a Lakers or Clippers or teams of that nature.
Yeah, teams in a bigger
Um,
market.
exactly. So I think you know for Suns fans, this is something that you'll remember for a while because again, you have kind of the old teaching the young, and I think that dynamic between Devin Booker and CP3 is a good matchup. So those
Yeah.
are my surprises in the NBA so far.
All right,
I'd
so
say they're
Nate,
on the up and up. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
so Matt's got Larry Nance as his player and the Suns as his team. Steven, who do you got?
Man, I don't know if I can, pick just one player. He's obviously going to bounce around a little bit. Let me start off with the hometown team, the Bulls, man. So obviously, obviously Chicago will always be my favorite town, favorite teams, and all that. I'm like best move they did was bringing in the new coach. Was Billy Donovan? Billy Donovan. Bringing him in, you can just tell by the body language of the players that they respect him more and they actually want to listen and learn from him. Because last year when freaking Jim Boylan was the coach, you could just tell the only thing that this dude dunked in his life was donuts. He was a joke as a coach, man. It was just and you could just tell from the players' body language. Levine, they've been in the huddle. Levine just screw this. This fat ass has no idea what the hell he's talking about. And I know he there talks that marketing wanted out and all that if things don't change. So they shook up a lot of stuff. They got rid of Paxson and Gar. Boylan got out and all that. They brought in Billy Donovan. And so I'd say the Bulls are, I'm not going to say – I wouldn't say they're going to, win the championship or make it far or anything, but I definitely think they could possibly squeak in at the, in the playoffs and all. They got a lot of all-around great players. Kobe White's playing well. Pat Williams, I was a little surprised by when they drafted him. I'm never one of those guys where it's like, oh, this is a terrible pick. I was kind of want to see how it plans out a little bit. He's playing pretty well so far. To be 19 years old and have to guard LeBron and Kawhi and hold your own up there, I think he's looking pretty well. But my pick on that team, Zach LaVine. God,
he's balling out, bro.
I swear to God, if he does not make the All-Star team this year, then people don't know what the hell they're watching. Ever since he's been in the Bulls, every year he keeps getting better and better. I think he's averaging over 30 points or something now, last time I checked, or close to that. But
he's got to be like 27, 28, yeah.
Yeah, I thought, the past couple of games he's been averaging over 30 points, but he's unreal. He's an unreal all-around player, knocking down threes, assisting. This Bulls team, I definitely think they're headed in the right direction. I'm trying to think who else. One of the other players that impressed me, and the team actually, the Atlanta Hawks, they got some key additions this year. And Trae Young, this isn't to say he was bad before, because he's always been good, but I think this year he's really starting to heat up even more. In the past couple of games, he's just had ice in his veins. He's been playing out of his mind. Man, I'm trying to think who else. Matt, you beat me to it. The Suns they're definitely on the up and up. They had some key additions. Chris Paul, they definitely needed that veteran presence out. They're starting to come into their own. I'm trying to think who else. Hornets are looking pretty solid with their rookie LaMelo Ball. Yep. Yeah, LaMelo Ball. Love or hate the Ball family, you got to respect LaMelo Ball. He's looking great so far. Gordon Hayward's playing pretty well. Scary Terry. The Hornets, they're looking pretty well, man. It's the East. I definitely think there's gonna be a lot of toss-ups, but I would say, top couple teams, they've been on a skid lately, but the Boston Celtics, was it Jaylen Brown, right?
Yeah.
Jaylen. I didn't remember that was the name. Yeah, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, the Duke man. He's been playing out of his mind. They're definitely a good team
too.
Yeah, they're one of those teams where they don't have all the superstar power in the world, but they're definitely I'd say they're top 3 team in the East, along with the Bucks, who are looking really well. Giannis playing awesome as always, the Greek freak. So I really think the East, there's gonna be some interesting. It'll be interesting to see who makes who goes far. 'Cause I really think there are some teams that could really surprise somebody. I think the Atlanta Hawks, now that they've gotten some some key players and all of that, they look like they're playing a little better. I think they can make it be 4 or 5 seed maybe, but it'll be interesting.
Yeah, they look rejuvenated, and it seems, So it seems to me that there's a lot of teams this year, especially in the East, that I've watched more of their games, whether it's on TV, whether it's in highlights. I've watched more of their games this year than I have in the last couple of years combined. Charlotte has just got a shot in the arm. Atlanta, like you said, the Knicks, who are actually the team that I'm going to be talking about soon.
Yeah, I can't believe I forgot about the Knicks. Julius Randle.
Yeah, they just – there's a lot of teams that just look like they are in a better position than they have been in the last half decade. And I'm a huge fan of that. I'm a huge fan of when professional sports leagues have parity, because that means that the competition is just better.
Not to cut you off, sorry, not to cut you off. You know what I would call that?
What?
When you said rejuvenated, some of these teams, it just reminds me of the Undertaker gif where he's laying in the castle, he pops up, he's like,
yeah,
that's what I would say. It's like
catching Mahomes, like what we were talking about earlier.
Yep, it's a shot in the arm. They feel rejuvenated. They've come back to life, and they're on the up and up, I guess you could say. But sorry, continue with what you're saying.
Yeah. So I'm going to pick one player that has stood out to me so far, and I'm going to do my team, which, spoiler, it's the Knicks. My player is the other Curry, Seth Curry. Yes. So Seth Curry has been a beast, and I think we've always known that he's been a fantastic shooter.
Definitely.
But in Dallas last year, his playoff run last year was special.
Incredible.
It was like every shoot or every shot he was taking, I was expecting it to go in. He was shooting just an absurd amount from 3. He's got a great form, he's beautiful form, and he's really off to a great start. I think he was out for a couple of games due to COVID protocols, because the Sixers were hurting a lot. Last week and 2 weeks ago. But in the games he's played, he's averaging, I think, 17 points a game on just an absurd 3-point percentage. He's balling out. And I give a lot of kudos to him for carving out his own niche. I don't think he'll be known as just Steph Curry's brother anymore. I think when
not
he's
living in a
done,
shadow anymore.
yeah, when he's done, and obviously he's not as good as Steph, but I think when it's all said and done, he will be remembered as just a good, solid role player who was one of the league's best shooters. And I think that that's a legacy that you can definitely live with. So shout out Seth Curry. My team is the Knicks. Shout out Tom Thibodeau. I love Thibs.
I forgot he's there. Oh my God.
He had some great years. He had some great years coaching the Bulls, particularly in Derrick Rose's MVP year, 2010, 2011.
Yeah.
So the main reason why the Knicks are good this year is because of their defense. They are a top 5 or 6 defensive team this year. They've just got them playing really, really, really motivated basketball. Like Steven was mentioning earlier, Julius Randle is playing at an absurd level. RJ Barrett is improving. I like Obi Toppin, their new rookie. They just got guys that are grinders. And I think this is a team that I believe if the season ended today, they'd be 8th. They would be in the playoffs. They'd be playing Philly in the opening round. So I'm not sure if New York's going to end up making the playoffs. My money would be on probably still no, because the East has gotten a lot deeper this year.
Definitely.
But I do think that the Knicks, if they can have another 1 or 2 good drafts and they can maybe start to attract some pretty decent name free agents, this is going to be a team that we're not going to be joking about them anymore. This could be a team that could actually be competently ran with a great head coach with some good solid young pieces. And I'm really happy for them. I think the league is better when teams like the Knicks are good, when these big market teams are good. So shout out the Knicks. They're going to have a good future, and I'm pretty confident in saying that.
Yeah, definitely. Because like you said, just real quick, like you said, like they may not make the play. Like there's a chance they could get that 8 seed, but I could definitely see that. If not, I could definitely see them on like the 9 seed, like right on the outside looking in. But yeah, they're looking good
for sure. All right, so that concludes our NBA segment. Let us know what you guys think. That was a lot of basketball and football that we just covered. But now we are going into our music section.
Let's go.
Mike Stud. I don't know who wants to go first, but I gave you guys sharing access. So I know Steven had to say something a little bit about Mike Stud first, but I don't have a bracket because I don't listen to him a whole lot, but I do like some of his songs. So I'm interested to see what Matt and Steven have to say about that. So
we can let Steven kick it off.
I was gonna say I'll let you go first because I need to throw on my Mike Stud jersey.
Okay,
so I'll let you kick it off, and I also need to plug in my laptop charger. So I'm kind of lacking right now. So without further ado, Matt, you got this. Yeah.
All right,
go ahead.
All right. So on this episode we are covering Mike Stud. Steven, this was Steven's choice, so when it's his turn, I'll let him take a deeper dive into who he is and his come up. But this is our bracket, or this is my bracket at least. So on the upper left, we got These Days, which, as you guys can see, we have 2 versions. The OG, and then we have a remix. But upper left, we have These Days, which is regular versus Never Going Back. I'll get to my reasoning why I chose going back, but I got Never Going Back for this one. Win versus Playground. I got Playground. It's a nice flow, but still an upbeat tempo. Rio and Mirrors on the Ceiling. This was a tough one because I feel like both of them are real laid back, but still have this nice bounce to it. But I gotta give it with "And I'm So Gone, I Safely Up." You know what I'm saying? I gotta give it a Frio, man. And then Minute versus Talk Less. The energy with Minute is incredible. I think that Gashi really brung the fire and the heat to this song. But I like Minute because it has a nice balance. I feel like Gashi brought the energy while Mike Stud kind of brung it down, but still gave it that fire to it. So I got Minute. Upper right, I got Swish and Don't Jump. 2 both hard songs, but I got Don't Jump coming out closer in These Days. Now for this one, I have These Days, but the remix. And the reason why I chose These Days versus the OG These Days is because I felt that, in my opinion, These Days was a kind of a lengthy song. and kind of not just my take on long songs. That if your song gonna be a lengthy song, I like to hear a feature in it. And I thought that I forget the exact feature's name. Do you remember his name, Steven, for the remix
Oh,
of these days?
oh, Marcus Stroman.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
Marcus Stroman. I thought that he brought a nice little twist element to the remix. So I prefer the remix for these days than the OG. Lost Me versus Lead the Night on Me remix. I got Lost Me. The Mirage, which is from his most recent album, which dropped in 2019. Versus College Humor. I got the Mirage. It's something about the Mirage that kind of it from Mike Thug's previous stuff was kind of I felt like he was experimenting on this song, but it worked. Sometimes we see artists that they experiment and it doesn't work or it may work, but this I felt like he was flown in different genres, and I thought that it worked incredibly on the Mirage. So now, um, I'm not going to spend too much time, but play around obviously came out of never going back. So I got to play around Frio versus Minute. Frio is one of those songs where, like I said, it's unique, it's different, it's nice, it's smooth, but Minute it gets you hyped. But again, it still provides that Mike Stud brings that nice balance in it. So I got Minute. To the upper right, I got Don't Jump versus these days remix. These days remix, you know what I'm saying? I like the two going at it. Lost Me in the Mirage. I got Lost Me. Again, I told Steven this before we started shooting, but um, I'm a huge fan of Worry, and just knowing that they have a dope, friendship um, outside of the studio is incredible. And I think that when those two pair up, they're immaculate. So in my championship, I have Minute versus Lost Me, and man on man was it tough, but it took me a minute. Get it? Anyway, but I got many coming out. Like I said, I feel like this song just has so much energy to it. But usually, when we get songs that have a lot of energy and high octane to it, it's usually like that from start to end. But I like the way that Mike Stud didn't get on the track and was bringing that energy. He kind of leveled it down um, and gave us, he was being himself on it. And I think, incorporating Gashi as the feature on this track um, was a nice blend. And within this bracket of songs, I have Minute as my winner.
Very nice. Yeah. So I suck. I totally forgot to fill out my bracket. So if you want to pull that up again,
No.
dude, yeah, I'm so sorry. I have it all memorized though, like in my head of which songs I picked. So I apologize.
There you
I
go.
suck. I've got to upload it, but yeah, I can walk you guys through it. But yeah, so real quick, for those of you who don't know who Mike Stud has never heard of him, so there's why I got the Duke jersey on, is because Michael Seander, aka Mike Stud, he was a closer for Duke's baseball team. Phenomenal pitcher, came from Rhode Island. Definitely could have made it to the show, but I can't remember if it was his sophomore or junior year. He had to get Tommy John surgery, and that basically kind of ended his career. So during that time, he talked about his podcast and stuff, which I highly recommend. Mike Stud's YNK podcast, because you never know, Steve. Yeah, so he started. As a joke, he made the song College Humor, which you can see at the bottom there. So he was it was kind of like a fun, college song, your typical frat rap stuff. So he made it as a joke for his teammates to try, kind of lighten the mood, kind of take his mind off the injury and everything. And they made a music video and it blew up. I think they said it reached over 1 million views when it first came out. Everyone was like, dude, you got to keep making music and stuff. So he came out with his first album, which I believe was A Toast to Tommy. So you got College Humor, Back Again, featuring Huey Mack. He's just one of my favorite rappers. Every time I think about, College Humor and those songs, it takes me back to freshman year of high school, I want to say, 2010, 2011. Some good memories. But yeah, without further ado, let's dive in here. So we'll start up. So we're going to go, top right, go all the way down, they'll move left, same thing. So with Swish and Don't Jump, like I'm gonna say this about every song. Basically every Mike Stud song is a banger, but just something about Swish. It just, man, I love the beat. I love the lyrics. I love the line and a mic drop because I don't strike out. I switched up. Now I'm pitching hits. And he had the baseball sound. Yeah, like, especially because I saw Mike Stud live in 2019. So just about almost, yeah. Was it? Okay, so almost 2 years ago. Because I saw him February 1st at the, was it Bottom Lounge in Chicago? I don't know if you guys ever heard of it. Pretty cool venue. But it was just so awesome seeing him live. And like everyone was singing along the entire time. So I got to go with Swish on that. So moving to These Days remix and Closer. Oh, man, you picked two of my favorites to go. And oh, gosh. Oh, man. So Closer. Closer, such a great, such a awesome, chill song. Really great meaning to it. Talking about how he was getting closer to success. He talked about in the album announcement video about the inspiration that went into the song and the album and all that. These Days remix. So for those of you who don't know, Marcus Stroman, he's so Marcus Stroman, he played baseball with Mike at Duke. And for those of you baseball fans, yes, this is Marcus Stroman, the pitcher for the New York Mets. So I just absolutely love his flow, his style, his swagger as a pitcher, the way he carries himself out there. When he walks on the mound, he's shimmying and all that, and he's just awesome guy. But honestly, I got to go with These Days remix. Probably one of my favorite songs, absolutely iconic. Lost Me and Leave the Night On. Gosh, man, a couple of hard decisions here. So Lost Me off the album For the Homies, phenomenal album, really great song. Vori's lines in it, just awesome. Leave the Night On remix. For those of you country artist fans, this is a remix of Sam Hunt's Leave the Night On. So same chorus and everything, but he adds some rap to it. Honestly, I got to go with Leave the Night On just because I love that song so much. And when Mike did his remix, I love when he actually uses his voice and sings. So that's moving on for sure. And then facing up against that, The Barrage, great song, but I gotta go College Humor. College Humor, that's the OG Mike Stud song that transformed Michael Seander from Mike Stud. And that's just, I gotta go with that. So moving on to the left here, you got These Days, the regular version, versus Never Going Back. Ooh, man, I just it's just so hard because, like I said, Mike Stud's probably my favorite artist. Oh man. I guess I'll go Never Going Back. I don't want to pick These Days, in both brackets in case they square off against each other. So I'll go with Never Going Back. Win versus Play Around. It's got to be Win for me. I love the beat. I love the melody. I love his voice in Win. All the lyrics. It's awesome. I love the music video too. He's just vibing. He's wearing a freaking Cher t-shirt on. It's just awesome. So I got to go with Win. Frio versus Mirrors on the Ceiling. So Frio, great song. Such a chill vibe. That'd be my pre-gaming song back at ISU. Just great vibes. Mirrors on the Ceiling, great song, but there's just one thing kind of holding me back from picking Mirrors on the Ceiling, and that's because he wrote that song for his ex-girlfriend, girlfriend when they were dating, Josie Canseco, and all I can say is fuck you, Josie Canseco. You're missing out on a great guy. She's rolling around with Logan Paul right now, and that's whatever. I got to go with Frio. Even with that little thing aside, I still think Frio, is the better song. Minute and Talk Less. Whew. I got to go with Talk Less. Again, great vibe song for when you're just chilling or something. I love Vori's verse. He's in it. It's with Vori, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. Vori, he just has a great voice in that song, so that's moving on. So, all right, on to the next round here. So we got Swish versus These Days remix. Oh my God. Again, another two of my favorite songs off that album. Blanking on which one it is. Oh God. This is so hard because they're both just really good hype songs. I guess you call them hype songs. Hearing them live, these were the songs that when you see an artist live, this is when they literally stop singing, hold out the mic, and the whole crowd just sings along. I know Kyle, I sent you the video of when he played These Days remix or These Days. So quick little tidbit about that. So he finished the concert with These Days. Got through the first verse. It was all right, hold on, we need to start that again. He's this is our last song of the night. Everyone's got to sing along. Let's go right now. He's like, 1, 2, 3. Hell nah, I ain't sleep today. And held up the mic. Everyone was singing along. Like there was not a single person in there that was quiet. Everyone was singing along. So, oh man, this is tough. But I'm gonna go with These Days remix. I got it. That's like probably one of my favorite songs, honestly. And that's again, Swish is up there, but I gotta take These Days remix over it. So let's see. I had Leave the Night On versus College Humor. Man, again, I got to go with College Humor just for the sole fact that it's like it's the OG song, and I have a lot of good memories with that. Like just of college, of like the first time I ever started listening to Mike Stud and all that. So College Humor for sure. Moving on, and then all right, over to the next side now. So what I picked Never Going Back. Yeah, so Never Going Back versus Win. Honestly, yeah, Win's one of my favorite songs, so I gotta go with that. Let's see. So Frio versus what I pick. Yeah, so Frio versus Talk Less. Man, Spence is on those for sure. But I'm gonna go with Frio. Honestly, like I said in this bracket, honestly, there are no wrong answers, but I got to go with Frio. So. All right, moving on to I would call it the conference finals here, or the semifinals. So I got These Days pinned up against College Humor. Oh man, I should have saw this coming. So you got like my favorite song versus the OG, man. But honestly, you know what? I'm gonna go with These Days remix just because. Like I said, it's my favorite song, and every time I listen to it, I just think of that concert, like that feeling that you felt in that moment, that pure, just how do you call it, just like dopamine or like just pure nirvana, just like singing, like having everybody singing along and just vibing. So These Days remix is moving on to the championship, and it's gonna square off against I got Win versus Frio. Oh boy! All right, I'm gonna take These Days remix versus When. I like I said, it's my favorite song off the For the Homies album. So now comes my hardest decision: These Days remix versus When, which I would say is like
for you.
Dude, it is because like if you know Mike Stud's music, it like starts out as like frat rap, then it kind of progresses into like more serious rap. For the Homies, he's got like a little different vibe going. Like it's not on here, but The End. Oh my god, that great song, but man, it's like it's a tearjerker. It's got some country vibes too. It's a great song. Hold on, let me look at list here. So before I pick, I just want to give some honorable mentions here. Wall Street, he's got in the beginning. I just love it because he's got Matthew McConaughey in Wolf of Wall Street. The quote where he's like, "Here's the game plan. I do it because I fucking need to." And if you see the Wolf of Wall Street, where they're like,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It's like that, but it's got that beat in the background, so it's like like it's a great song. Batter Up, because he's a baseball player, great friggin' song. Even Steven. So for those of you who don't know, I'm sure most of the viewers or you guys have heard of Hoodie Allen.
Yep.
So Hoodie Allen came out with a diss track against Mike Stud, and he pokes the bear on that. Like, don't get me wrong, I like Hoodie Allen, but I like Mike Stud way more. And Hoodie Allen opened a can of worms, and he bit off more than he can chew. Mike Stud just completely destroyed this man's career in the song Even Steven. And if you haven't heard it, you need to go listen to it because it is just so well done. Like every little part of that song is just like. It's just a big shot at Hoodie, and it's awesome. Back Again featuring Huey Mack, another great rapper, kind of the same level as Mike. Hold On, We're Going Home remix. So obviously Drake's Hold On, We're Going Home, Slow Down. He really shows off his vocals there. So yeah, those are my honorable mentions, but can't avoid this anymore. I got to get down to it. Taking These Days remix versus When. Oh man, so you got like a good hype song versus like a great like vibe song. And I just think it's so funny because he opened with When I saw him in concert, and he closed with These Days. So it's like the opener versus the closer. Oh, God. Oh, man. This is tough. But you know what? A decision has to be made. And I pick, drumroll please, These Days remix And like, agree or disagree with me. To me, these days remix, like I said, like a bunch of times, it's my favorite song. It's one of those songs you can literally listen to like all the time. Like, like you're partying, you're turning up, like, just a good vibe song. You're in the car with your friends, just, listen to a great song. But these days, like, I don't know. If I ask people like, you haven't heard of Mike Stud, and I play them these days, chances are that's probably the one song they've heard by him. And oh man, I still think back to the concert when he closed out with that. It's just, yeah. So I pick These Days remix with Marcus Stroman's verse in it as my winner. So there you go.
All right.
It sounds hard. It sounds hard.
Dude, it is, because like I said, if you really listen to like all Mike Stud's music, it's just every song's a banger, honestly. Like starting out, like I said, it progresses. Like, you see him progress from his frat rap all the way down with Toasted Tommy, all the way down to his last album as Mike Stud, and I'll get into that in a minute. That was, God, what was his? Are you ready? Was his last album name? So those of you who don't know that whole, you're probably like, what the fuck is he saying? So Mike Stud's little trademark that he does with his buddies is he says, "You ready?" And the response is, "Yeah." So, but yeah, so what was I saying? Oh yeah. So his last, album is Mike Stud. So Michael Siander is no longer going by the name Mike Stud. He announced on his podcast a while ago, because everyone was like, wait, he's gonna stop making music. He announced that he's like, 30, 31. He's like, to be like 31 and like, getting older and still go by the name Mike Stud. He's like, I felt really weird going by that name, like, oh hi, my name is Mike Stud. People are like, oh, are you like a porn star or something? And it's like, dude, are you like still stuck in college? So he goes by Mike. So it's just like Mike, period. So he just says he's like, oh, I'm just Mike. But yeah, he's released I want to say a couple songs, I think. I don't know if he released an album or not. Let me look real quick. But yeah, some of his new songs are honestly, they're really great. They're a little like, slowed down a little bit, but they still got some great vibes to it. Let's see. He's so some of his songs he released: Been Thinking, Little More Time, Rodman, and Two Birds. Those are some of his new songs as Mike. Kind of like, slowed down, kind of chill vibe to it, but, still same great artist. I cannot wait to see what else he puts out there. So, yeah.
All right. Well, Mike Stud, I'm going to have to listen to more of his songs. I do like a couple of his tracks, but I don't know him like you guys do, so I'm going to have to do that. But
yeah, get on that, man.
All right. Well, this concludes our 8th episode of Area 11, where we echoed the culture. We talked about football. We talked about basketball. We talked about our boy Mike Stud. I thought that was a really good episode. Thanks again for being on, Steven.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you so much for having me on, guys. I've always wanted to be on a podcast before and talk about this, because I'm obsessed with sports and music. Kyle can attest to it. Any of my friends can attest to it. I'm always talking about music and sports. And my girlfriend, she always nags me and saying oh my God, all you ever talk about is sports. All you ever watch is sports. It's always been my dream as a kid, be a professional athlete, analyst. So thank you guys for this awesome opportunity. Hope to be on here again. For those of you watching, thank you for listening to me going crazy in here and talking my ass off. Yeah, hope to be back again. Thanks again, guys.
Matt, you got anything else to say before we end?
We are Area 11. And what do? We echo the culture. We'll see you guys real soon. Peace out.
All right. See you guys.
See you later, everybody.